Please listen carefully.
Under the Silver Lake is written and directed by David Robert Mitchell and is the follow-up to the critically acclaimed It Follows. It stars Riley Keough, Andrew Garfield, and Topher Grace. The plot's kind of hard to follow and hard to describe, but basically Andrew Garfield plays a sort of loner that lives in Los Angeles, more specifically in the neighborhood of Silver Lake, which is just on the periphery of Hollywood. He doesn't really do anything with his life, and that's kind of a joke in the film, where people ask him how work is, and he answers, fine, or I gotta go back to work, when in reality we know that he's not doing anything. He starts noticing Riley Keough's character, who lives in the same building as him, and one day they hang out for a night, and they seem to really hit it off. He goes back to his apartment with the expectation that he's going to see her again the next day, but when he wakes up and goes back to her apartment, she has disappeared and the entirety of her apartment has been emptied. From then on, Andrew Garfield sets out to try and find out what happened to her and leads an investigation down a dark, strange rabbit hole full of quirky characters, conspiracy-minded comic book writers, actors hustling as prostitutes, and bums that leave crazy cryptid messages. The film works really beautifully as this hazy, crazy dive, neo-noir type film that borrows as much from Fritz Lang's Woman in the Window or Hitchcock's Vertigo as it does with Robert Altman's The Long Goodbye. It's a crazy and surreal ride down the strange cesspool of the rich, powerful, and weird that is the city of Hollywood and the city of Los Angeles at large. David Robert Mitchell is from Michigan, and after the success of It Follows, I imagine that he had a lot of meetings and a lot of pitch meetings with Hollywood executives. And the film really reads like an outsider's view of Los Angeles that is both this beautiful, dangerous, and seductive place full of very strange and powerful people. And I sort of described it earlier on Twitter as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang meets Inherent Vice meets Alex Jones on peyote. As with all great noir films, it leads down a path of elitist conspiracy theories and cover-ups and murders, and of course, a plot that, from a spectator's point of view, doesn't really make much sense and is extremely hard to follow. And the director really revels in misleading the spectator down these rabbit holes of scenes and elements that really serve no purpose in terms of the plot, and that are really there to misdirect the audience. It also feels very Lynchian without trying very hard to feel Lynchian, which is refreshing, but it does tackle these ideas of the death of the Hollywood Golden Age, and the sort of dirtiness and ugliness that is hidden behind the glamour and the iconography. And of course it blends this surreal, offbeat humor with the thriller aspect, so it really has these elements that you could find in Lost Highway or Mulholland Drive or even Inland Empire. Apparently the film was not well received at Cannes, and that pushed the distributor to push back the release date. It was originally supposed to be released in August, and now I think it's set for a December release date. The Fantasia audience actually seemed to really appreciate it. There were a lot of laughs, and it was getting a very positive reaction, at least from where I was sitting, that seemed to be the case. And what that means is I think that the December release will be a different cut than the one that toured Cannes and Fantasia. So I'd be curious to see what this new cut will be like. I'm not sure what you would cut out in the final cut to make it more palatable for a wider audience, and especially I think the 2.5-hour runtime, the slow pace, the languid burn that is the film with a ton of scenes, like I said, that lead nowhere, actually contribute to what makes the film work. It's a film that I would strongly recommend, even though I don't think it's going to work for a lot of people. I'm the person that thinks Inherent Vice is one of Paul Thomas Anderson's best films, and I know that's not an opinion that's held by many. So if you're the type of person that needs plot to make sense, that needs to have satisfying resolution and elements and sequences that are there to serve the plot, then I don't think you're going to get a lot out of it. On the other hand, if you're a fan of Inland Empire or the last season of Twin Peaks, and you can fully accept that films don't have to make sense, then I think you're going to get a lot out of Under the Silver Lake. And I could really see it being right up your alley.
Oh, you think that's weird?
A little.
So as always, thanks very much for watching the video. Be sure to hit the like button if you like the review. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed, and that way you can keep up to date with all these Fantasia videos that will be coming out. Until next time, see ya!